All right, so I made a video the other day about Brad Holmes. I think I did pretty good with the thumbnail too. Slapped a little chef hat on him. It was hilarious. Got a lot of feedback from the comment section, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought it was going to be very bad. Whenever you say something negative about Brad Holmes, you usually get a bunch of kickback because of all the stuff that he's done for the team. And I agree that he's done a phenomenal job with this team. But he's done that primarily through the draft, which is what a lot of you guys want, and it's how you build a successful football team. But now you get to the point where it's time to put a little more in. It's time to put a little more. So the question that I've been seeing, and I put this out on Lion Syndicate and on Twitter as well, is what's the difference between this year and last year? As far as it seems like the fan base is more avid to have a pass rusher added when I have been talking about that for years. I think they are a key of winning big games. When the games count, these are the guys that come through. We've seen it time and time again. Chris Jones, Aaron Donald, game saving, sacks, tackles, whatever the situation, pressure, that this is the guy, this is the position that changes the game. So I'm very big on it. And I think the Detroit Lions have lost that with Aiden, but they didn't really have it as much as they needed before. So the question that I have to you is, what's the difference between this year and last year? If Brad Holmes does not make a move, he's very quiet. Are the Lions waiting on this potential last game? Is it going to be a frantic 48 hours between the last Sunday? And don't forget, there is a Monday night game as well. I don't know who plays Monday, week 9, but I don't think it's anybody that would affect what we do. But Brad has not done anything. The Detroit Lions are super quiet. You got the Chiefs making moves. They trade for Josh Uche. They trade for DeAndre Hopkins, two guys that are, yes, not what they once were, but they're still good enough. So if the Detroit Lions don't make a move, how are you going to feel? How are you going to feel? Last year, I think we should have made one. I think if we trade for a guy who can help get to the quarterback, whoever that guy is. Now, Chase Young is falling off a cliff. I know a lot of y'all do not like him. I don't think he was as bad as he is this year. This year, it's like he doesn't care. Last year, I don't think he was that bad, and the years before. But this year, this year he's bad. He's bad, and I have moved off that train a long time ago. But San Francisco 49ers made a trade. They made several. They also traded for Christian McCaffrey and went to the Super Bowl, right? They didn't win it, and that's where the problem's coming in. What happens if Brad doesn't make a move? We're not going to trade for a wide receiver. He's not going to do that again. But what if he does not make a move for a pass rusher, somebody that can get to the quarterback? How are you going to feel if we don't make the Super Bowl? How are you going to feel if we don't win the division? For me, the ultimate goal is to win the Super Bowl. So I don't care how we get there, as long as we do. And I'm going to be honest. If we face the Chiefs, we win. I truly believe that. With DeAndre Hopkins and Josh Uche and Chris Jones, we win. We have the best team in the NFL through the first 8 weeks of the season. The Chiefs cannot hang with it. Their defense is great, but we've went up against good defenses. We got to go against one in week 9 in the Green Bay Packers, and we have had our way. Yes, this team is ready. It's ready. And we need Brad in order to, we need him to see that. He's got to make something happen. Now, I've said this all last year. I love our guys. Grit is our mantra. But I feel like is grit going to be enough to win a Super Bowl? Is that what Brad and Dan feel? You got to be the right fit. You got to be a culture fit. You've got to be a football player. All that stuff is great. But is grit going to be enough to take us over the top? It's enough to win the division. It's enough to get to the NFC title game. Is it enough to win it? Because, see, I don't think it was last year. Now, if you got the right combination of grit guys, maybe Terrion Arnold, who we didn't have last year, right? The emergence of Brian Branch playing even better. They're in his rake straw, grit guys we didn't have last year. So that could be a thing as well. But that one defensive end we don't have, I think that is the key. And if you can get one who has the grit that you're looking for and football player, all that stuff, that's fine. But you might have to get a little dirty. You might have to get a little dirty to win this thing. You might have to get that fringe guy that's, he might have a little more talent than he has grit. You know what? We'll see if we can make this work. Maybe he's 60% talent, 40% grit. Maybe he's 75% talent, 25% grit. Maybe it's 70-30. Maybe it's 49-51 in favor of talent over grit. Brad Holmes has to do something, because what's going to happen is this dynasty that Detroit Lions fans are thinking we're building toward has not even started yet. You have to win one before you start talking dynasty. Now, Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs built through the draft. They won 1, then they won 2, then they won 3. Now they're trying to win 3 in a row. We could be the next Kansas City Chiefs. We could be that. They had L'Jarius Sneed. They had Chris Jones. They have Travis Kelce. They got some playmakers, some game changers. They got some talented individuals. But they built through the draft. So they're a good model to follow. But guess what they're doing this year? Guess what they're doing? They're also making trades, because now they understand that to keep that edge, they have to get better, right? That's what the Detroit Lions have to do at the edge rusher. So let me know. Do you think that Brad Holmes, if he doesn't make a move, what's the difference between how you felt this year or last year and how you feel this year? I am very curious, because y'all know how I feel. I'm all about, I felt last year was an opportunity. And I'll just say this, and I saw this the other day, and it was a very, very good point. Very good point. Somebody brought up a team that's very reminiscent. They're much like us, except they've been to a Super Bowl. They've never won. The Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals are almost like us. 2-14. They draft Joe Burrow. Within a few years, they're in the Super Bowl. Within a few years, they're not the same team. That window was literally open and shut for the Cincinnati Bengals. Open and shut. The Detroit Lions, could the same thing happen to them? Right? You have to, if you're trying to build for a dynasty, you also, to some extent, have to build for the now as well. It's a tough balancing act to build for the now, but try to build a dynasty. So that window can shut as quick as it opened, it can shut, man. So let me know what you think down below. Would you like to see Brad make a move? Who do you want it to be? And do you think we can go all the way and win everything if he doesn't?